everyone, this is Chef Rachelle Boucher with Standards of Excellence, Florida Builder Appliance, and Westar Kitchen and Bath. I love being in the kitchen. Now, for many years I was a private chef, so entertaining was a big part of what I did for my job. One of the best things to do was have a big platter to serve out to everybody. So inspired by a Niçoise style salad, we're going to do a similar thing, and we're going to make a big, wonderful platter of beef tenderloin roasted. We're going to put on some eggs on there, hard-boiled eggs. We've got potatoes, olives, and tomatoes. It's going to be sensational. Let's get started. I want to show you how to roast a beef tenderloin. So to cook a beef tenderloin, it really depends on the type of equipment you have. If you've got a convection oven, you can put it into the convection oven and set it on convection or convection roast, and it's going to really brown the outside. If you don't have it, it's fine. What you're going to need to do is brown the whole tenderloin in just oil in a hot pan, sear the outside, and then you're going to season it. So what I've done, this has not been browned because I'm using convection oven. It's got salt and pepper, a little bit of garlic powder. I've brushed it with Dijon mustard, a little bit of olive oil, and then we tied the rosemary onto it. I also took the end that's very thin, tied it around with string, so I've got a nice solid roast, all seasoned and ready to go. So I'm going to also use a probe. This is going to give me internal temperature. Again, if you don't have that, you're just going to be testing the internal temperature, and we'll talk about that more as this comes out. All right, I'm going to make a luscious vinaigrette. We're going to start with a little bit of Dijon mustard. That not only adds flavor, but it really is going to help keep this together. I've got a very finely minced shallot, and shallot is just what makes, I think, what makes a homemade vinaigrette taste sensational. I'm going to stir in a champagne vinegar. You can use any mild style vinegar, and then in with the wonderful olive oil. This is going in nice and slowly. I'm whisking to keep that nice consistent thickness. I'm keeping this emulsified. That is keeping everything in suspension via the olive oil, or excuse me, the mustard and my whisking. So I'm going to go on that. I went a little quickly with the oil, but you can then keep whisking and that will emulsify all over again. So nice, and it makes a creamy feel to it. Now, one of my favorite ingredients is capers. I love these. I've got a lot of parsley. I'll put some of it in now and maybe a little bit towards the end. If you're making this in advance, you want to leave the fresh herbs out until the end. Lots of fresh thyme. Again, it's going to be beautiful with that beef, and then chives. Let's add in all of those chives. So this is a chunky, flavorful vinaigrette that's going to hold up really well to the beef and highlight all the vegetables. So our beef tenderloin is roasted and wonderful. So I'm going to take out the probe. The internal temperature I looked for mid-rare was about 131. Now, it's very specific, right? And then what happens is as it rests, it comes up to temperature a little bit more. So we're going to get, but you can also check it if you don't have a probe. Like I said, you can just use the regular thermometer that you have. So I'm just going to snip this. This is what kept it together. So this twine is coming off. And I'll also pull off those rosemary sprigs. And then we'll transfer this to the cutting board and slice it. I have let it cool pretty significantly because it's going to go on to a salad platter. So I want to slice this beef tenderloin, and I've taken off all the string. I'm just going to cut it with a nice sharp knife using my tong, and I'm going to cut it on a bias, which means a nice strong angle cut. That makes it look really good, as well as it just tenderizes it even. So another aspect of cutting is you want to cut against the grain. This is the grain. It's sort of like ropes going down through the meat. And it's really easy with a beef tenderloin because that's really how it's shaped. So I'm cutting on the bias, meaning these nice angle cuts, and cutting against the grain. And that's going to make the meat even more tender. So I'll finish this up and then we'll start our plating. Okay, so the beef is beautifully sliced and I fanned it out on the platter, and then I've tossed some of this wonderful mixed greens and some of the vinaigrette. Same thing with the potatoes. I cooked the potatoes till they were tender in boiling water and then drained them, and as they're still warm, I toss them in a little bit of vinaigrette and it just absorbs in and makes such a difference in the flavor. The green beans, I cooked, same thing. I just like lightly cooked those and then tossed those last minute in a little bit of vinaigrette. Over here, I've got hard-boiled eggs. That is cold water with the eggs, bring it up to a boil for 3 minutes, shut it off, and let them sit in the water for 10 minutes. You have perfect hard-boiled eggs, love it. And then I sliced up some tomatoes. I'm gonna now add in some olives. Now you could toss this all together, but like a niçoise salad, I really like it being a composed salad, which means it's all sort of set out separately, and then you serve it with tongs and let people take what they'd like. I'm gonna do a little bit of that remaining parsley just all over everything, just kind of over the sides. And then I'll do even though everything is well dressed and seasoned, I'm gonna do a little bit of salt and pepper on the top, seasoning nice and high so it sprinkles down evenly. And then if you'd like, which I like to do, because I've got such a flavorful vinaigrette, is I like to come back with just some drizzles of the vinaigrette, particularly around the edge. And you might even put a little bit of extra salt on the eggs if you like that flavor. Then I keep the rest of the vinaigrette, I put it in a little serving container and serve a little bit of extra on the side. But that is a platter, right? I love it. So this is my version of a beef tenderloin platter with potatoes, eggs, olives, and tomatoes. I hope you enjoy it.